Now that you're retired, right, because there's so much to talk about here, what is the first thing that you sort of realise you've got to do for yourself in civilian world? So I guess starting right at the beginning of the day, you've got to kind of dress yourself now, haven't you? Which you never used to have to do, and like cook your own breakfast and that. Like what?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I just used to leave my wash bag and everything was done for me. But now, I'm showering in the morning and putting on my own pants, which I find bizarre. But no, listen, I'm not a complete bellend. I can do, I can do stuff on my own.
Do you have a clear goal? Do you have like a clear ambition at the moment?
That's the problem. I don't have a goal. I don't really have a goal. That's the thing. I'm doing things at the moment. I'm enjoying them. But I'm just sort of pottering around. Do you know what I mean? Like not really knowing where I want to be.
A lot of people have that, though.
But I think that's everyone I spoke to who's come out of the game had the exact same feelings. They did not know what they liked doing. So, but it's like, that's the thing. Like I've been doing too many things, definitely, and I've been doing things but I'm trying everything out, and then obviously I'll rein things back in, and hopefully, as long as people want me, I'll have a few options to do certain things. But I'll find a sort of a niche where I'm happy and I've got a bit of routine, because I think that's what humans need in a weird way. You need a bit of routine. You need to know what you're doing, don't you? But what is weird is just finishing and not having that routine, like not going in every single day, not having someone telling you where you need to be. I've been fortunate in many ways I sort of fell into sort of a media kind of world, which I wasn't prepared for in the slightest, really. But I know other people don't have that, You just finish and just go, right, now what am I going to do? I tried to plan for my retirement. I tried to plan in the way that I did my coaching badges whilst I was still playing. I did the podcast and the book whilst I was still playing, and things sort of came off the back. And I was just seeing which ones I preferred and what I wanted to go into. And thankfully that went really well, and I went that route. But, I know I'm in a really, really fortunate position, but it can be quite a dark place. And I know from experience, I know some of my friends of mine, good friends of mine, who you'd never have thought got in a really, really dark place, like doing things, waking up and not having any real goal and stuff, and splitting up with their wives, not having a job, not having any money coming in, and going from a hero in the city to basically a no one. And it happens like that, and I can see why people lose it and turn to drink, go gambling, and nights out, because they don't know any other thing to do, and there's no release, and it can be difficult, definitely. And I know how fortunate I am to have these things to keep me busy. Otherwise, I'd be losing my mind as well.
Yeah, you have training every day normally, didn't you? Yeah. I mean, there was always that routine there. Has something new come into your life in the days? Like, what do you feel? Are you watching Lorraine?
You would.
Or are you loose swimming?
That's what I was worried about. That's why I took on so many sort of roles, really.
Because of Lorraine.
Because of Lorraine, because of Richard and Judy, and because of This Morning, because they're good shows. It's easy to get sucked into them.
Have you had a day of just going back to back?
I have done one day, yeah.
So you started off Lorraine.
I went for BBC Breakfast, and I did a little bit. I moonlighted with a bit of Piers Morgan, and then I went straight into, I think it was Lorraine. And then we go, because you can go mid-morning and go into Loose Women if you keep going.
Yeah,
I saw one woman lose 8 stone. I could not believe it on This Morning.
Did you?
Frightening. She looked fantastic.
Abby, you got to see this.
You got to see this. And then went straight into Loose Women, and I was like, bang on like some of the topics there.
And then you catch Dion Dublin in the afternoon.
Go for Dion Dublin. You can go right through.
You look out the window, it's dark.
You can go right through, and then you're straight into the One Show.
You are.
Since I retired, I've got a little bit lighter.
What?
Yeah.
So hang on, so you're doing less exercise and you've lost weight?
Yeah.
Is that the muscle fading away?
I don't know about that. It's a bit more like, because when I'm training every day, I eat a hell of a lot more just to fuel again. And obviously, like you say, the muscle and things like that. And, listen, it wasn't a hell of a lot of muscle there anyway, but, what there was. Just, basically, I'm at a crossroads now where I need to start doing some stuff. I like tennis, so I think I'll probably get into that.
Are you starting from scratch, or can you sort of play reasonably at the moment?
No, I played, You see, I played as a kid. That was my thing, football and tennis. That was my thing the whole way through. And I sort of got to the stage where I had to sort of choose which one which one I was going to go for. I went for football sim. It's something that I always wrangles with me. I wonder how good I could have been.
Your serve must be extraordinary.
The serve's decent, yeah. It's not bad. I used to serve and volley, man. That was my game. Even Ivanišević was
classic.
my...
Yeah.
But I was going to say, because you've got a similar style, surely,
Yeah.
because you're both so tall.
Just crash the serve down.
Your serve is like throwing a ball off the top of the Empire State Building, isn't it?
Similar.
And just landing it down.
Similar.
The
I'm a little
angle
bit
on it
smaller,
is
but-
going to be...
Yeah.
Unplayable?
Yeah. On the circuit as a 14, 15-year-old, it was unplayable at times, I have to say. Even if I do say so myself.
Well, listen, here's an idea. You live, if I'm not wrong, you live about 3 miles from where Andy Murray lives.
Yes.
Right, if you took Andy Murray on a game of tennis today, like, how are you getting on? Are you winning a game on your serve? Are you winning a point?
I don't think I'd win a game. No.
Not
I
even
think
on your own serve?
I don't. I mean,
He's got a dicky hit
listen,
now.
Listen, I was decent when I was a kid. I mean, now the way they're hitting the ball, I mean, I'm sure. I reckon I'd be able to get a couple of points, but I'm not talking games.
Could you get a point on his serve?
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Well, I guess what we should do is make this happen. So if you are listening to this right now and want to hassle Andy Murray, is he Sir? He's a Sir, right?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Are you,
he really?
are you
Yeah, he is,
expecting one of those, by the way?
I mean, if he's got one.
Yeah.
So hang on, Andy Murray's been world number one.
Yeah.
He's won 2 Wimbledons. He's
Yeah.
won the Davis Cup pretty much single-handedly with his brother.
Yeah. I won the FA Cup in 2006.
That's true. With Stephen Gerrard. If you can take a game off Andy Murray, he has to give you his knighthood for a week. Yeah.
Well, we play in best of 3 sets, so 2 sets effectively.
Exactly. Yeah. He has to give you.
Well, if
his
I
knighthood.
get a game, he has to give his knighthood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if he wins,
If he wins, you have to be a ball boy for him in his practice sessions.
I reckon I should be a ball boy, like just round his garden or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
No, you should be his slave for one day.
I spoke to Sean Dyche quite a lot. I have to say he was amazing. Really was around my retirement, and he said to me, "Look, we'd like to have you for another season." He was
really?
He was great with that. He didn't, listen. I think he wasn't like saying you're not going to play, but he liked to have me around the place, and he thought I was a good professional. I think. And he thought I could still be a threat, but I didn't feel that. It was enough. It wasn't like, we need you, one of those. So I sort of knew that, but he was being really good about it. But then having spoke to him, and he was amazing. I sort of took a lot of advice from him, really, because, he's another player who's come out of the game and gone on to what he's achieved. Amazing, but he was great. I spoke to my dad, as I've always done with all my decisions, and I spoke to...
What did he want you to do?
He just thought the same as me, really. My thoughts on retirement were a weird one, really, and quite different to a lot of players. Is that I felt physically fit, whereas a lot of players just can't go anymore. Their backs, their knees, everything's given up, really. I felt all right. I felt like I could do another season, no problem. I just felt a little bit degraded, a bit. Like I felt like I was becoming the stereotype that I'd always tried to avoid.
Because people were wanting to lobby you on for 20 minutes and lump it.
Last 10, 15, that was my role. I'm coming on the last bit of games, and we're just launching it up to me, and I'm basically using my height, flicking it on, or getting on the end of crosses, or, I could always nick a goal. So, you can make a good living in the Premier League, coming on for the last 10, 15 minutes, nicking a goal here and there. And I knew I could have done it for possibly 2 more seasons, quite easily. But I felt degraded by it. I felt like I look at myself in the mirror going, this is not what you're about, Like, I can still play, if you can play into my feet, I can play 90 minutes, no problem. And I literally became a head on a stick. And
Head on a stick.
yeah, that's
That's how you felt?
I felt a bit, just getting wheeled out. I just felt that I was a little bit better than that, And I'd done probably 3 years of not quite that, because I was playing games as well, but it was getting to the point where I had to say, do you know what? I don't want to be remembered like this. And although I could still have an impact in what I was doing, I just had to say no. And thankfully, like I could say, doing this podcast has been great for me while I was still playing, and doing the book as well, because those 2 things sort of opened my eyes to another world. And I thought, you know what? There is life after football. I still love going in every single day, and that was a wrench, but the games were just, it was like when you're in a band and you practice all your tunes and all that, and then the gig's cancelled every single Saturday. Yeah. It's a horrible, horrible thing. It's like you train all week and then you come to the game and you're not really a part of it, So
what was the most emotional bit then?
I remember sitting face-to-face with Sean Dyche at the end of the season. And my last game was Arsenal at home, and for Burnley, that was my last ever game. And I sort of knew in the back of my mind it was my last ever game, but no one else knew. No one else would. I didn't share these feelings with anyone. So
you had your family there, didn't you? You had all the kids on the pitch.
All the kids were there, and the reason I brought them all up because I brought them all on the pitch because in the back of my mind, I knew I didn't want to make a big song and dance of it, but in the back of my mind, I knew that it was over. So I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted them to be on the pitch, and I've got a lovely photo of all the kids on the pitch with me at the end on my last game. So I'll always have that, which would be nice. I had half a thought that Real Madrid might come in for me as well, and if I'd have retired on that day, and I couldn't have played for them then. So.
Imagine that.
Well, you never know, do you?
Dyche is quite a hard man. Did you have a little cuddle as the final goodbye?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. You know what? He's a tough exterior and all that, but I've really found him to be such a top man, and I still speak to him now because I shared something with him. It was like I was going through a tough time with a few things, and mainly the retirement, and he was first class for me, and I can't thank him enough.
We've had a little chat with Abby.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, just to get her perspective, Chris, wasn't it? Really?
Yes.
Was it?
Well,
you just wanted. You should stitch me up.
Do you think she's A, said it's lovely to have you around the house all the time, or B, there's a long list on a bit of paper in front of me?
I reckon 100%. There's a long list.
Go on in, Chris.
We spoke to Abby, and one of the first things she mentioned was she's having to send loads of stuff back to Amazon. So the things that she mentioned here was a fish tank.
She was away, and I had all 3 kids on my own. And it's like, what do you want to do today? And they said, we want to go and get a fish. Like, well, let's go for it. Why not? So we went, and we had a great day out at the pet shop.
What have you called the goldfish?
We've got Pearl, Nemo, and sadly one died.
Oh, no.
What?
You just found it floating at the top, did you?
Yeah, like day 2.
What did you do with
did you flush it down the
remains?
toilet, or do you bury it in the
What's
garden?
the humane thing to do?
Well, no, it's fine. It's died at that point.
Yeah, okay.
So you could either do like a full funeral and go out into the garden and
The
but
lolly
you're not
stick gravestone. You ever done that?
No, I said obviously that my little girl saw it. She was very upset, and then I said obviously I'll bury it and then it'll go up to heaven and all that. But I did flush it down the toilet.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Peter Crouch from That Peter Crouch Podcast. If you like what you hear, click the link in the description. Click the link in the description. What does that mean?